the not-too-distant future, Earth is a desolate wasteland. A massive solar flare completely obliterated the ozone layer, making the surface uninhabitable. Extreme weather constantly whips across the planet, and the sun's raw, ultraviolet rays scorch any living thing that dares to leave the shadows. It's been 15 agonizing years since the catastrophe. We meet Finch, an engineer, who is scavenging for resources with his trusty robot companion, Dway. To protect himself from the deadly UV light, Finch wears an elaborate, full-body protective suit that constantly warns him if radiation levels spike. While softly humming to himself, the duo moves through a dilapidated store, tossing any salvageable items, including a few cans of dog food, into their cart. They totally disregard the numerous skeletal remains scattered across the floor. Once their haul is complete, Finch makes a point of marking the building exterior. This way, he knows for certain that this particular location has been completely emptied. Moments later, Finch is in his truck, navigating an abandoned, sand-choked town using a meticulously marked-up map. Since the streets are deserted, he simply rams the larger obstacles out of the way with his vehicle. Suddenly, his suit blares a warning. A colossal storm is rapidly approaching. Finch slams the gas and races to escape the city limits, bouncing off several wrecked cars on his frantic route. He makes it out just in the nick of time. Soon, he arrives at what was once the space energy company where he worked, now transformed into his underground laboratory. The storm is bearing down on them, so Finch quickly grabs Dway and dashes inside before the intense winds can blow them away. Once safe inside, Finch thoroughly decontaminates both his suit and Dway. Next, he heads off to take a much-needed shower. However, he soon starts coughing uncontrollably, a terrifying reveal that he is slowly succumbing to the fatal radiation exposure he has endured over the years. With everything clean and secured, Finch enters his living quarters, which he has fashioned into a small apartment. He is immediately greeted by his loving dog, Goodyear. They share a heartfelt reunion of endless cuddles and affection. Goodyear eagerly devours the freshly found dog food, but Finch only manages a sip of a drink as his personal supplies are worryingly low. He carefully stores the day's groceries in the fridge. He can't help but gaze longingly at a single can of peaches, but he reminds himself to save it for an important occasion. Afterward, Finch returns to his most crucial undertaking, building a highly advanced humanoid robot. This machine is meant to assume the role of Goodyear's caretaker once Finch is gone. A robotic arm meticulously collects every book from a makeshift library and feeds them into a scanner. The vast database of human knowledge is then uploaded, piece by piece, to create the robot's consciousness. He only pauses briefly to toss a ball for Goodyear, who happily brings it back, begging for another throw. Later that evening, Finch studies a book on radiation and becomes visibly distressed as he comprehends just how little time he has left. He decides to forego sleep entirely and push to finish the robot before his illness takes him. The robot's head is nearly complete, but it's missing its visual sensors. Finch quickly borrows Dway's eyes, promising to replace them later. When he finally activates the new robot, it cannot speak, but it does manage a nod when Finch asks it questions. Finch is absolutely thrilled and immediately sets about fixing the speech issue. With the voice function finally online, the robot can talk, startling Goodyear, who responds with a bark. The robot selects the name Jeff and quickly demonstrates his massive knowledge base, referencing various random facts absorbed from the scanned books. Crucially, Jeff must adhere to several directives Finch has programmed, such as a total prohibition on harming humans. The most important is the fourth directive. Jeff must protect Goodyear once Finch is no longer around. Suddenly, the power fails in the laboratory. Finch must venture outside to restart the wind turbine. Meanwhile, Jeff attempts to strike up a conversation with Goodyear, but the dog merely responds by peeing on Jeff's leg. Outside, Finch notices an absolutely enormous storm front approaching. He rushes back inside and connects Jeff to the weather station computer. The dire news is confirmed. 4 different storms will hit in the next 24 hours, converging into a single devastating superstorm that is projected to last for nearly 40 days. There is zero chance they can survive a disaster of that magnitude. Finch immediately determines they must evacuate right away. While finally enjoying his prized can of peaches and trying to ignore the blood starting to drip from his nose, he checks the map. Their only viable route is to head west towards San Francisco. Finch finishes assembling Jeff's full body and increases the data transfer rate. It's not ideal, as the knowledge transfer will only reach 72%, but they have run out of time. The head is connected to the finished robot body, and Jeff successfully stands up. Finch starts teaching him how to walk, which prompts more barking from Goodyear. Despite a few clumsy falls, Jeff quickly gets the hang of it. Afterward, Finch packs up all the necessary gear, making sure to include his prized collection of postcards. Dwayne keeps bumping into objects, so Finch installs a spare security camera as a replacement for his eyes. With everything ready, the group climbs into an RV and finally begins their desperate journey. During the drive, they observe the desolate desert landscape all around them. Finch wistfully recounts stories of a past world filled with wildflowers and buzzing bees. Jeff mentions a loose component rattling inside his head. When they arrive at the next town, Finch pulls over to make the necessary repairs. While Finch works, Jeff examines the postcard collection. He notices that Finch keeps a San Francisco postcard in a special spot, one apparently sent by his uncle. Jeff expresses a wish to visit the Sydney postcard, but since it's too far away, he agrees to be excited about seeing the Golden Gate Bridge instead. Once the repairs are finished, Finch announces they are going out to look for supplies. Dwayne is clearly disappointed when he learns that Jeff will be accompanying Finch this time instead of him. As they walk down the street, Finch teaches Jeff the essential techniques of scavenging. Eventually, they discover an old movie theater. The entrance is secured by a chain, but Jeff's powerful robot strength allows him to simply rip the door right off its hinges. Inside, Jeff is mesmerized as he sees his reflection in a mirror for the very first time. Meanwhile, Finch is thrilled to find a sealed bag of popcorn. He takes it outside and opens it, showing Jeff that the sun's intense heat instantly pops all the kernels. Their brief moment of fun is suddenly cut short as they notice the massive storm rapidly closing in on them. They immediately bolt back to the RV and tear out of the city. The storm is quickly catching up, and they realize they must find shelter now. Finch has Jeff help him anchor the RV with strong wires. Finch tires out quickly due to his worsening condition, so Jeff sends him back inside to rest while he finishes the task. Finch covers all the windows and places Goodyear safely in a cabinet. He calls for Jeff, who quickly finishes securing the final wire and sprints into the RV just as the superstorm violently impacts the vehicle. The RV is tossed around wildly by the storm's fury. Finch and Jeff struggle to hold onto the furniture as one wire after another snaps. Finally, only one remains taut. After several agonizing minutes of shaking, the storm passes and the group emerges. Finch notices the single remaining wire was the one Jeff secured with his great power. However, he also discovers a destroyed tire. Fortunately, they have a spare. Jeff uses his immense strength to effortlessly lift the RV, allowing Finch to change the tire underneath. The group spends the rest of the night resting peacefully at that location. The next morning, they open the RV's solar panels to recharge before continuing the drive. Jeff barks back at Goodyear, mistakenly believing he can learn dog language. Finch gently explains that it will take time for Goodyear to develop trust in him. Later, while back on the road, Jeff asks, "What exactly is trust?" Finch struggles to define such a complex human idea, so he shares a personal story instead. During his first job, he was assigned to a project team composed of lazy workers. Finch single-handedly solved a major software problem, but he gave the entire team credit, earning their trust. However, Jeff doesn't grasp the lesson, pointing out that Finch's problem was that he hadn't trusted them in the first place. The conversation is abruptly cut short when Finch is overcome by a violent coughing fit. He quickly pulls over and stops at a roadside restaurant for a break, parking the RV near the entrance for maximum shade. Finch rushes inside without his protective suit and immediately begins coughing up blood. Suddenly, he hears Goodyear barking. He discovers the dog refuses to let Jeff take him out. Finch has to grab the leash himself and bring the dog inside, telling Jeff to stay behind and guard the RV. While Finch attempts to enjoy a quiet moment with Goodyear, Jeff tries to figure out the RV's controls. He manages to turn on the music and then tries to drive it, resulting in him accidentally slamming into a parked car. Finch spots the crash and rushes outside. Goodyear follows him and nearly steps into the direct sunlight. Luckily, Finch catches him just in time. Finch furiously scolds Jeff for his carelessness and orders him to bring the RV back. Jeff attempts to comply but ends up crashing it into the restaurant's supporting column. Furious, Finch holds his hand in the sunlight for a few seconds to demonstrate how quickly and badly it burns. He then shouts at Jeff, demanding he grow up and reminding him that his only purpose is to take care of Goodyear. Back on the road, Finch notices Jeff is quiet and withdrawn. He decides to give him another chance and begins teaching him how to drive properly. At first, Jeff is extremely clumsy, constantly bumping against rocky formations, but he soon masters the skill and begins driving with confidence. When darkness falls, they stop to camp and watch the spectacular northern lights, which are now easily visible without an ozone layer. Jeff wonders why they don't drive at night. Finch explains that it's too dangerous. as desperate, starving people sometimes attack from the shadows. The next morning, Jeff hears Goodyear whimpering and rushes to check on Finch. Finch is violently ill, throwing up and shaking uncontrollably. Jeff cares for him and then lets him rest while he continues to drive. Eventually, they reach another city. Jeff tells Goodyear to stay with Finch while he and Dway head out to scavenge. They enter a hospital and search around, but it is mostly empty. Jeff instructs Dway to guard the entrance while he checks the upper floors. Neither of the robots realizes someone is silently watching them from the deep shadows. Upstairs, Jeff manages to locate some medicine and finds a jacket, which he puts on. He also discovers a cabinet filled with useful supplies. Downstairs, Dway locates some food, but as he reaches for it, he steps directly into a bear trap that instantly destroys him. Meanwhile, Finch wakes up and realizes his robots are gone. He instinctively knows they are in danger. Despite his weak condition, he suits up and rushes after them. He is utterly devastated to find Dway's ravaged body and mercifully shuts him off to end his suffering. He then notices a movement and prepares to attack, but it is just Jeff, wearing his new coat. Finch chastises him for not realizing the area was a trap. They hear noises rapidly approaching, so they start running. On the stairs, Finch collapses to his knees in a coughing fit. The noises are getting closer, so Jeff helps him up, and they bolt out of the building. As soon as they reach the RV, Jeff drives away at high speed, failing to notice a car secretly tailing them. Hours later, after nightfall, Finch finally spots the car pursuing them. Since Jeff is driving and can see in the dark, they switch off the headlights, but the car continues to follow. They try speeding up. Finch notices an underpass ahead and quickly steers the RV off the main road. Jeff tries to warn him that the RV is too tall for the underpass, but Finch is panicking and continues driving, trying to hide their vehicle beneath it. Tragically, Jeff's warning was accurate. The underpass shears off the RV's solar panels. Jeff must use his immense strength to finish pushing the RV until it is completely concealed. The group waits tensely for the chaser to pass, and Jeff discovers Finch keeps a gun for self-defense. Thankfully, the car eventually drives past. Finch steps outside to assess the damage, blaming himself for the destruction. Since the damage is irreparable, he is certain they will not reach San Francisco. When Jeff tries to comfort him, Finch snaps and angrily yells at the robot. Jeff doesn't give up. He follows Finch into the RV and tells him he believes in him. Finch responds by sharing a dark story from the time just after the solar flare. In those days, people were still learning how to survive. Finch had entered a supermarket and only found a bag of noodles. He soon saw a mother and daughter with a cart full of supplies. The little girl was holding a gun, and the mother kept reminding her to shoot anyone they saw. Fearing for his life, Finch stayed hidden. Suddenly, a crazed man with a shotgun appeared and demanded their things. The mother tried to defend themselves, and in the ensuing struggle, the man fired multiple shots. By the time Finch came out, both the mother and daughter were dead. However, he heard a small noise and checked the girl's backpack, finding a terrified little puppy. That day, Finch adopted Goodyear and promised to protect him at all costs. That was also the day he learned never to trust another human being. The next morning, Finch rests while Jeff continues to drive. Jeff examines the postcards again and discovers the San Francisco one is signed by Dad, not Uncle, and the backs of all the others are completely blank. Suddenly, the RV's computer announces that the UV levels are no longer critical in this region. The RV then hits a butterfly. Confused, Jeff stops the vehicle and awakens Finch to show him the insect. Finch is shocked. He cautiously extends his hand outside, but it doesn't burn. He quickly runs out and joyfully basks in the sun's warmth for the first time in 15 years. He is astonished to find more butterflies and even a single flower growing nearby. Hours later, as they continue their journey, they see plants beginning to grow everywhere. To celebrate, Finch puts on his nicest suit and stops the RV for a picnic, right under the beautiful sun. Jeff confesses that he saw the group they were hiding from at the underpass last night, which excites Finch because it means Jeff is dreaming. Next, Jeff asks Finch why he lied about the postcard. Finch shares a new final story. When he was a child, his mother told him his father had Viking ancestry, and Finch shows Jeff a picture of a Viking funeral. His dad was a traveling engineer who built bridges and left before Finch was born. Finch never had contact with him until his 15th birthday when he received the postcard out of the blue. His father wrote that he hoped to meet his son someday. Finch bought this fancy suit specifically for that potential reunion. Unfortunately, he never heard from his dad again, but he did start his postcard collection that day. Deeply moved by the story, Jeff excitedly announces they can reach the Golden Gate in 18 hours if they hurry. But Finch gently reminds him that he is dying and will not make it. After making Jeff promise he will take excellent care of Goodyear, Finch throws a ball to teach Jeff how to play fetch with the dog. Jeff throws the ball back, but Goodyear always returns it to Finch, still hesitant around the robot. Suddenly, Finch starts coughing up blood. When Jeff asks if he can do anything to help, Finch simply says, "You already did." He shakes Jeff's hand, and they share a warm, final hug. Afterward, Finch retreats into the RV to rest, with Goodyear watching over him. Jeff stays outside to pack up their picnic things. As the sun sets, he hears Goodyear cry out. Jeff knows that Finch has finally passed away. To honor their friend, Jeff and Goodyear hold a Viking funeral, burning Finch along with his UV protection suit. At first, Jeff feels lost and unsure what to do next, but he quickly remembers his solemn promise to care for the dog. He feeds Goodyear and then throws the ball for fetch. This time, Goodyear brings the ball back to Jeff. Playing together allows them to bond immediately, and Goodyear even gives Jeff a hug. Afterward, they continue their mission, determined to finish the journey. When they finally arrive in San Francisco, Jeff builds a memorial for Finch. He then goes to see the majestic Golden Gate Bridge with Goodyear. He is stunned by its beauty, but he is even more surprised by all the messages left by other survivors for their loved ones, indicating where to meet. Seeing this, Jeff realizes there are other people out there. He tells Goodyear they must find them. He hangs up the San Francisco postcard, which now features a nude drawing of the two of them, and leaves with the dog, ready to begin a new life of hope. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more post-apocalyptic recaps like this. Thanks for watching.